can hold my hand, we can play in the graveyard, dream about joining in.
Hello everyone, it is Esther here and welcome back to my channel. So today it is day 3 of my film recommendations thingy, and I'm talking about the film Lovelace today. Now I was just sort of scrolling on Amazon Prime, seeing what was new, and this came up to me, and this was actually on my watch list already on like this app that I use to track my films. I don't use Letterboxd, by the way. I use a different app. It's called like CineTrack or something. But yeah, I just prefer the app because you can rate stuff like in 10s and not 5s. It's like kind of a dumb thing, but yeah, I just prefer rating things by 10. So yeah, this film is called Lovelace, and it's not about Ada Lovelace, it's about Linda Lovelace, who was a porn star in the 70s. Now, you might be thinking, Esther, why the fuck are you watching films about porn? I mean, if you've seen my like films that I've watched in this month thingy, you know that I do watch porn documentaries. Okay, this is not because I'm like a gross weirdo, it's because I just genuinely find like the sex industry and like sex work very fascinating, so I watch films about it. For example, Cam, or like Hot Girls Wanted, or I watched this one called Porndemic, which was about like AIDS. But yeah, whatever. You know, I just find it really interesting, like, why people watch these things and why people want to work in these industries, and, like, often about how they get exploited, which is about this film. So basically, Linda Lovelace, she was a girl in the 70s, and she meets this guy, and he thinks that she's hot, and so they get together, they form a relationship, and then he pretty much tricks her into, well, he doesn't really trick her, she knows she's going to be in a porn film, but he sort of coerces her into being in porn, and she's in this film called, oh my gosh, she's in this film called Deep Throat, and basically it becomes, this is a true story by the way, it becomes like one of the most popular porn films in the 70s, and she becomes instantly famous overnight, and it sort of like ruins her life, and it's horrible. And the way I like this, and I like the way this film was made, because it, first of all, it shows like one side of the story, so like she's in porn and like this is how everyone sees her, which I thought was really interesting, and then it shows, and then it sort of like rewinds and replays all those scenes again, but what actually happens. So for example, there's one scene where they go to a party and everyone thinks that she is having sex with her husband, but he's actually beating the shit out of her. So it's actually like really interesting, because sorry to get all weird, but I think it's quite a metaphorical film where it shows how the public saw her, which was like a sex figure who was like perfect and beautiful and everyone wanted to be her, but in actual fact she was being abused, she was in a horrible relationship, she didn't even want to be like a famous porn star, she just wanted to be in this one film because her husband wanted her to. And honestly, I found it a really interesting film, and if you have time, I definitely suggest watching it. It's quite disturbing though, so if you don't like that sort of stuff, then don't watch it. So that was today's film, and today's question is, what are your favourite action or adventure films? And the first ones I thought of in terms of action were definitely the Mission Impossible franchise. I love these films so much. For some reason I can't really get into James Bond, but I love Mission Impossible so much, like seriously, they're so good. My favourites are definitely the first one and the last one, which is kind of weird. I like 3, 4 and 5. 2 is really bad, but yeah, basically I love most of them, but the first and the last are definitely the best in the series. And also Atomic Blonde, which is about like a female spy, and it's also set in Berlin, where like and it's also set in Berlin around the time when the wall was being like torn down, which is really interesting because I actually was in Berlin like last month. So yeah, those are my favourite action/adventure films. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I will see you guys tomorrow, hopefully. Goodbye. Keep free, but not fly.